Welcome to this episode of the Down the Pub podcast. We have a win to celebrate. Woo hoo! Derek and Dave are here to kind of pick over the game. So welcome, guys. How's it going?
Good. How are
Great.
you
Thanks,
doing?
Anto.
Yeah, I didn't actually get to go for this, like because I was going to Oasis on the weekend, so I didn't think it was a good idea for me to try and ask my wife if I was allowed to go to a football game on the Friday night when I was going away for the whole weekend. So, did you guys go? Or did you watch it from home?
Yeah, I was there at my usual seats and just loving it. It was a great atmosphere. And one of the things I wanted to just hit on right away is the kitchen was on fire all
Oh
game
my
long.
God.
And then I watched the replay because, well, I watched the replay and they were amazing on watching the game like online. It was just so good. So, kitchen folk, keep it going. Well done.
To be clear, for Dave's bosses, the kitchen was not literally on fire. They were not violating any provincial bans. In fact, there was no smoke or artificial. They had smoke machines instead, fog machines instead.
Yes, thank you, Derek. Thank you.
So and I heard a rumor that Buck and White were in the woods walking about and having campfires. So is that why the smoke was white? Is like they had smoke machines and not actual? I didn't realize that because I
Yeah,
was wondering.
they weren't allowed to have the flares or the
Oh,
not the
okay,
flares, but the usual smoke
yeah, because I was
bombs that
wondering.
they have, but because those are incendiary, but they use those smoke machine, fog machine things instead. So
Wow, I didn't realize that.
some people actually said it made for a better atmosphere. So
No,
there
it's
you go.
bullshit. It looks shit. You need to have the blue smoke. It's just part of what the Wanderers are. But yeah, I do agree. I watched the game at home and it was pumping. You could like the kitchen, like the whole game. Whoever does the drums in the kitchen there, God bless them. So we pretty much had the same team again, but we this like it's kind of over the past couple of games, it's kind of really started to develop, and you're starting to see Sean Rea really play well. And I think he just need a consistent run of games. I think this was probably his best game ever for the Wanderers. I think he was fantastic.
Yeah, I don't think I could argue that. The last three games I've been so impressed with him, and just watching him, Tiago, and Vitor together is just a treat right now. And they're developing a great understanding, and the midfield's developing a great understanding of when and where to get the ball that they're going to be the most dangerous.
I will preface this, and I don't mean to be like a Debbie Downer, but like this Valour team are fucking dog shit. It was like like we've played a couple of bad teams recently, like Vancouver in town, and like we should have beat them, but this team was awful. They looked very disjointed. They didn't look like they were a team at all. They had like a couple of like little moments in the first half, but apart from that, they were pretty toothless. Obviously, apart from the goal, I thought Gazdorf looked so rusty, like he was dropping stuff and parrying stuff that he should have caught and stuff like that. So I just want to kind of preface that and be a bit of a Debbie Downer. But yeah, I mean, it
But
was
don't
just
do it. Don't do it,
like
Anthony.
I know, I'm
Don't
sorry,
do it.
I'm
You can
sorry.
only, as the great Bill Belichick once said, you can only beat what's in front of you. He didn't
I
make the schedule, so let's celebrate the games we do beat the crappy teams
yeah,
because we've done enough of not beating them this year. So let's go.
that's very true. So Derek, what were your kind of highlights of the game? What did you enjoy the most here?
Well, like you said, it's nice to see, I think, a formation that maybe takes advantage of some of the best qualities of our better players. So it's unfortunate it's taken this long to find a formation and an approach that really suits Sean Ray but now that he's been unleashed, I also thought Isaiah Johnson had another excellent game. He's had a very good, he's gone from strength to strength and has probably been, if anything, underrated, but he's on a very good run of form right now. So yeah, it's nice to see that midfield really coming to life and coming to fruition. So
Yeah, I just thought Isaiah Johnson all season he's kind of just gone about his business and done it so well. Like I mean, like some of the tackles he puts in, like he gets it around the pitch, and yeah, I think when it comes to the end of the season, he should be in the conversation for a Player of the Year. I think that he's been absolutely fantastic, and I thought that Alphonse had a really good game again.
yeah,
I think him and Perlman actually link up pretty well on that right hand side. So it's kind of nice that we're seeing, as Derek said, like these guys like actually get a run of games. Like it's like I just hope that you know that the next game like we suddenly we drop Sean Ray to the bench and Victor Diaz gets like terminated or something because that seems to be the way we do things at the club this season. So I'm a bit bitter. I'm sorry. I'm still a little bit groggy and hungover from my weekend. Like I'm sorry. Being a bit pessimistic, and I don't mean to be.
I,
Honestly, it was a fantastic result, and I think it's going to be the springboard we need for the rest of the year. We needed this win. We talked about it before the game, and it was just like I just can you just tell me about like how like Coimbra's performance and what you think were um his best attributes in this game.
and like there's so much. There's so much. I speaking of guys who probably had their best game, probably Coimber's best game for the club. Like
Yeah.
he's been very close the last few weeks, and he was everywhere. And what I loved is he was getting balls on crosses. He drew the penalty. He was linking up. Again, Vitor and Rea, the little layups, little triangles were phenomenal. He just missed getting through on a couple little breakaways, just on reverse balls from the top of the 18 and very close. Could have argued that we could have had another handball penalty actually on one of the block shots. And 10 shots, seriously,
Yeah.
in a game and six on target. Like, that's really good. And the rest were blocked. Like, he actually didn't miss a shot. So, just huge hats off to Tiago.
There's a lot of games where we don't get 10 shots as a team. So for one player to come out and get 10 shots, I mean, he was on fire from the opening minute. He had some incredible chances early on, and just continued throughout the game. So yeah.
So we're definitely seeing like him mature this year. Like he's always kind of had the potential, and obviously he had a few niggly injuries, I think, like last year or the year before. So do you think that like do you think he's probably like the first wanderer in like realistically that we have a chance of actually making money on and selling? Like if you were an MLS team and you're looking at this guy, do you think he's a player you can work with?
Potentially, like I think I mean, you'd probably want to see another season if you're an MLS club, at least another half season of this type of performance. I certainly think he's been helped by a couple things this year. So, I mean, as you mentioned, niggly injuries had been a problem in the past. Obviously, they brought in um, conditioning coach this year, which was a new add to the team, and so that I think has probably helped in that respect. I think probably if you were to ask him after the season, I suspect the time he spent in West Ham in preseason was probably a big help to him in terms of his confidence and how he sees the game and his ability to find different ways to finish. Because he's always had those kind of tools, but he seems to have brought it all together this year. So yeah, exciting to watch because he's now back in the Golden Boot race and potentially in a position to threaten Morelli's record as for Wanderers goals in a season. So
Like it's kind of hard to believe that he's still an under 21. It feels like he's been at the club for a long time. Like he's definitely going to be in the conversation for under 21 player of the year, huh?
But yeah, he's definitely there. And I think it just goes to there has been a lot of really good successes for the Wanderers in finding players, and they may not have hit their peak while they were with us. Like Nivik had a great first year, terrible second year. Now he's playing amazing again. Salter, obviously in a different system where he's getting a ton of chances, has proven that he can take all those chances. So there is something to be said that we've been doing something right. It just hasn't been on a wide enough scale where every player's been at that quality. So it's a great thing to look back on and just look at the progress of the club from year one through year six.
I think like with Sammy Salter, I think that he did look decent when he was here. I think he always had a really good touch. His hold up play was really good, and he is a really good finisher. I just think that he never had the amount of chances that he's getting with Ottawa. I think that I never disliked him when he was here. I kind of I was surprised that we got money for him, and I think all of it's kind of worked out for him. I don't begrudge him or think he's an asshole for going or anything like that. So, but it is good to see that players that we have scouted are starting to kind of come along. Like the aforementioned Dan Nimick. But I just think that forward system just really suits him as well, right?
Yeah, I mean our system, particularly the last season, I don't think suited Salter particularly well. I mean, we kind of ended up in that situation where designed an entire system around João Morelli, and then João Morelli goes out and gets hurt in the second game of the season, and then we're trying to plug square pegs into round holes in terms of, trying to have Aiden Daniels as the false nine, and they had the two kind of wingers that would come in as if they were strikers and stuff, and it just I think was a system that really didn't although he had a decent year for us that year, I don't think it particularly suited him. And obviously, yeah, Atletico, where it's in a system where they're generating lots of chances and lots of service, he's done quite well for himself. But that took some time too, right? Like he struggled his first year there, and I think he's into his third season there now before he's really come into his own. So
I think it's a really good thing for the Wanderers that they stuck with Coimbra. Like I think after last year they could have let him go because of the injuries and all that kind of stuff. And obviously he had that little bit of a discipline thing, but as you said, Derek, I think that preseason in England really helped his development, and it really helps when you have creative players around you too, though, right? Like having Sean Rea, like even like just having somebody like who's willing to take shots from outside the box, which I think we've been lacking this year. Like Ray, I think had like two or three pot shots from out that just create havoc when Gazdov was parrying them, and like as a striker, having somebody who's willing to do that for something for you just to get a rebound and get a tap in, it's amazing. So, we obviously had a big win 4-1, but then our game on Monday is against York, and they had a big win as well. Um, so do you think we should stick with the same system that we have, or do you think we should tweak it? How do you think we're looking for Monday?
So I'm gonna jump out and say there's no reason we could change, and I think we got to make teams conform to how we're playing now. I might change that a little bit if when we play against Hamilton the week after. But York is playing with those two strikers, seem to be pretty well in their system, so we'll have lots of defensive support. And I think we need to go after them. The one thing I'm seeing in this league is every team can be scored on. Like there's no lockdown defensive team in this league. So I think the onus is on us, especially at home, to just go win the game. And if we end up tying, it's not the end of the world, but like that is the one out of the next three that I think that we should be really targeting and pulling out all the stops to win.
yeah, we've got two home games against York in the last 8 games of the season, and those are the crucial games, right? You got to be looking to take at least, I think, 4 points from those games. I don't think we can really afford to lose either of them, and we certainly have to win one of them if we're going to gain ground on them. So those games are going to be crucial. And like Dave said, I wouldn't look to make big changes to something that appears to be working at the moment, but some minor tweaks might be necessary here and there. So
Yeah, I think so too. I think like having Bahambula and Johan Boy on the bench now, like is kind of like the depth piece is starting to come back that we kind of saw at the start of the year, and having like a different dimension if we need to change things up. I did actually go to the York game as my first CPL away stadium. I feel so bad for York United because it's a great little setup. The stadium is pretty decent. It's not that difficult to get to. It is a pain in the arse, obviously, sitting on the subway for whatever at the time. But the stadium is like right there beside the train station, and the fact that they can't get people because whenever I've talked to people, they said, "Oh, the stadium's in an awkward position," and that it's really not. It's like it's right by the subway station, and it's a great little ground. And the atmosphere was pretty good for the 1,500 people that they had there. They have like their own like little section down towards the end that has like that houses the kind of the rowdies. But I think that's part of the problem because everything's on the one side, and with the kitchen, like if you're sitting on on the side, you can see everything kind of happening in the kitchen. When you're all on the one side, you can't see what's happening with the rowdies on the end, so you kind of don't feel part of it. And I think that's what do you remember they had that ridiculous stand that they, they put behind one of the goals that like I think it was like two or 3 years ago. I get that. I now why they put that there because they wanted that kind of people from the seats to be able to see the rowdies. But I was actually sat in beside um a couple of Pacific people, which was kind of interesting. Just they were they were not having the best of times. God bless them. Pacific were just so poor. Like I know Sean Hundle scored 4 goals, but they were just torn apart. It was just way too easy.
Well, their
Uh,
defense is a bit of a shambles right now. I mean, they're pressing people into the center back role that have never really played center back before, and frankly, it makes it a little more frustrating that we weren't able to take advantage of that when we played them there. So
yeah, that's true. But I think on the kind of positive side of it, we can kind of see that like I don't think there's any way they're going to catch us anytime soon, and just by the way they were playing, like it, you know, uh, Diaz scored, and I kind of at half time you kind of felt there might be something, and then as soon as the second half started, like they were just done. So I don't think that was a fair reflection on York as how they play and how they are. So I think it's going to be a lot tighter, I think, on Monday. I think it's going to be that kind of balancing act of like nobody really wants to lose that game, if you know what I mean, because we're like right neck and neck. So it's gonna be interesting. Are you guys going to be going to the game?
I'm planning to, yeah, yeah.
I will
Uh,
be in my usual seats.
I'm gonna see if I can get the okay from the missus to allow me to go. But yeah, it's kind of, we're kind of coming into it's great that we're kind of hitting a little bit of form. I know that like it hasn't been coming into wins, but like we're kind of getting back to a little bit where we were at the beginning of the season. So it kind of hopefully it bodes well for the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, the
Yeah, I
one thing you
think.
can say about that Labor Day game between York and Halifax is it's usually an interesting one. Not always in the way we would like, but
Oh yeah,
there's been some wild games.
Oxner slipping in the rain and the guy scoring from half on him,
Yeah.
and then the two very shady penalties we received from Mr. Usury in
Which
one of the games.
Jordan Wilson still complains
Still
about
talked
almost
about
every
well,
time
and
the
he
Wanderers
as he
are
should.
mentioned. Uh, that's still the wildest 10 minutes of football I think I've ever seen live. But anyways,
It was absolutely incredible. I wonder if it's gonna rain on Monday because that just adds to it.
There's 35% chance, so it won't it's not gonna be a lot. But I just remember from that one game is the whole left side as we were attacking down the left side was just a puddle. So the guy would play a ball, he'd be dribbling, and all of a sudden the ball would be behind him because it just stopped in the puddle. And it was like, oh my god! So now you see how good that field is. I'm just like, well done, HRM staff, to like make that last for the whole year. It's amazing.
They are like the fact that they've got two professional teams playing on that grass and they're keeping it so immaculate. Like kudos to them. It's gonna be a shame when they rip it up and put a plastic pitch in. So yeah, so like having been at like the York Lions Stadium and having the use, I feel like I'm like I'm always going on about the facilities, but the facilities at the York Lions Stadium was even better. Like it just makes you crave having something like that here. That like we deserve it. We need it. And it just kind of makes you hope that the city sees a little bit of sense and kind of goes ahead with the whole thing because I really enjoyed it. I didn't think I would, but I actually had a really good time. I'll probably maybe I should like become a York United fan. Derek, what do you think?
I think a better proposal is you run for mayor in 2028 and make sure we get that stadium in 2029, 2030 because I mean, it's not coming any sooner than that anyways, by the looks of things.
Wow, we're transferring Anthony from football to politics. I love
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's Fillmore out. So yeah, yeah, I was sat beside the Pacific assistant coach Armando Sa's wife. And it's kind of like we're just kind of talking a little bit about like the family's still in Ontario and he's out. It's just the dedication that people give to this league and to this sport. I don't think we appreciate it as much. Obviously Patrice is from Ontario and he's has his family here in Halifax now, and the kind of sacrifices people make to run the clubs, and sometimes there's not an awful lot of gratitude for it. So, yeah, it was definitely interesting being sat beside 8 people with Pacific jerseys on. And I just thought it'd be kind of nice to give a bit of banter. So I was cheering for York just to kind of piss them off a little bit. And I thought it was going to start a riot. So
What's your best Sean Hundal chant that you had there, Anton?
I didn't think of any chance at all, man. I'm sorry. I'll have to work on it. I don't even think the York United fans have a chance from him yet because has he scored like 1 goal or something for them? But now like he's a hero, right? So it'd be interesting to see what they come up with. Going to try and get to the game. I'm looking forward to us winning and cementing our place in the playoffs. I see that Forge already have done that. It's going to be difficult for anybody to beat them this year, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought going into the season that maybe Cavs looked like they had a strong chance to repeat, but Forge have just been utterly dominant. I guess it's easy when you're in a salary cap league and you don't have to abide by the salary cap. But
I guess it's easy when you have like so many conflicts of interest between the club and the
when
league, right?
when your head coach's brother is the one monitoring cap compliance for the league.
Check, check, check.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. We are not bitter whatsoever, right? It's just, yeah. But it is kind of like they're just, it's, you obviously when the league started, you didn't want to have somebody be so dominant, but it's just the machine that they built there is just unbelievable. Like, and it obviously they're not far from Toronto, so it kind of it's a little bit easier for them to get players, and they just seem to always have a pipeline coming from Sigma like that. Just nobody else, like obviously Calgary have the foothills, but they just don't seem to have the same quality that comes through. So
Well, and they're able to poach players from other clubs because players want to go there to win, right? So that's why they're able to bring in like Mo Babuli, Brian Wright, and Dan Nimick in a single off season. Part of the reason for that is because those are all players that have bounced, been elsewhere in the league and want a chance to get a shot at a title and a shot to play in, CONCACAF and all that. So.
but I actually have a proposal. So like in the MLS, the way they release the players' wages, um, I think the CPL should do that just so we can see how compliant with the cap Forge
So
are.
the one thing we know is that all the owners and general managers of the team are on the executive board for the league. So they have all signed off that they're compliant. So the question for us fans would be, smoking gun. Where is it, Derek? We need to see that. And are they finding other ways to put money towards these guys? I don't know. Because, like, again, when I was talking to Forge fan Kevin, I'm just like, how do you guys just bring men off the bench? Like, it's all veterans. I know they have like one or two young guys that always pop through, which is amazing. That kind of counters this argument a bit. But it's like they go to the bench and they pull off a guy with like 7 years experience and he's played in 3 European leagues. And you're like, and we're bringing solid guys off the bench, but their highest level has been CPL.
Yeah.
So Weston Mateo comes off great, like 15-minute shot of the arm, really good. But then they bring on Ramza. They just bring these guys in. You're like, and they're awesome. And so they are the daddies of the league. And seems like we're all the kids with occasion, like a Pacific Calgary Ottawa will jump in on one part, but they always win something. Like, have they gone a year without winning one or the other? I don't think so, right?
So they should have like like in Parliament, I don't know what they do it here in Canada, but in the UK and stuff in Ireland, it's like members' interests. So like if you have a job outside of uh Parliament, you have to put it in the public domain. So I think that's what they should do is that any CPL player who has a second job has has to put it in the public domain. We'll probably see like a couple of people who are janitors in their spare time getting like 80 grand a year or something.
I think what you'll find is guys
Yeah,
coaching teams for like 15 grand, 10 grand,
Yep.
right? Like that'd be the difference. I don't know. Like I'm interested. I'd be really interested to hear a truthful conversation from the league and the clubs about this because nobody talks about it like
yeah,
at all. And like what are we trying? Like I feel like the women's has been very forthright on we're going to pay a living wage. Everyone's making 50 at least, so our salary cap is X. We can pay more, but this is going to be the minimum standard of what we do. And I mean, I think we should be able to see what that is on the books. And because it's not like Premier League where all the books come out and then they're reported,
Yeah.
we don't get to see that here.
I think we need to get Bob Young on here. I think he has all the secrets because just get Rob Friend and Bob Young on, and they can
Oh, I just reached into my seat cushions and pulled out an extra 15 for Becker. Wow, amazing.
I did get to go to a Wanderers training session again last week. This time they invited out Lobo.
They listen to the show
Yeah.
because I was complaining saying that they never invite the regular Joes. An email went out that they're having an open training session at the Wanderers grounds. Was it well attended?
Yeah, it was. So they targeted youth teams quite aggressively with this one. So I know, I coach with UDFC, and I got the invite directly, and then it went out through the club, and so there was a lot of youth players there, and it was a fun format. Like they would let them watch the training, and then they did a Q&A with four of the players, where all the young people that were there could submit questions for the players. So it was kind of cute little stuff like, what's your favorite pregame meal? Who was your favorite player growing up, that kind of stuff. And then at the end, they had a little autograph session for the kids. And I will say, the players that I coach somehow managed to finagle their way to the front of the lineup for the autograph session. So I was pleased because I said they finally seemed to be able to find an opening, and when they find open space and get into it, they don't seem to have a problem doing that when they're looking for autographs. And if they can just bring that mentality to the field, we'll be scoring a lot more goals. So
You just need to have like Wanderers players just littered throughout the pitch
yeah, Waters players just standing behind the opposing goal.
with Sharpies.
Well,
So
maybe if you do like Tiago and you get like an Ollie Hewish
yeah,
mask made and you can have them on the sidelines or something, they can run towards them.
Can I say, like, as I probably I enjoyed that goal celebration probably more than any of Tiago's goal celebrations he's gotten carded for, because it was so random and it perplexed the one soccer people completely. And I had to do the freeze frame, and I was like, "Is that Ollie Hewish's face?" And then we got the explanation as to why that was. But that also got him into that was his fourth card. So now he's got to go 5 games without getting a card, or he's going to miss a game. And like, as much as I love the enthusiasm, as much as I love the randomness of that celly, someone sit the boy down and say, stop taking yellow
I,
cards for dumb celebrations, because it's cost your team multiple times now, and it could cost us again this season if he gets suspended for a game.
let's hope that there's no more weddings or big birthday celebrations
Yeah,
coming up.
nobody get married the day before a Wanderers game for the rest of the season.
I,
You're
I,
not, no.
but like the effort that must have gone into that. So like they had to like do the mask. He had to he had to know that he was going to score, and then somebody had to hide it on the bench. I feel like there's a
My
lot.
no my so my understanding is family members of Ollie's brought the masks to the game
Oh wow,
because they were there for the because they were in town for the wedding. And I think it was more of a spontaneous thing where Tiago spotted them with the masks and asked
that,
for one and took
that's
it onto
really
the
cool.
field.
That's
So I
that's
just love the
amazing.
one soccer people trying to puzzle over this. And I joke that because I figured it out, and I said, well, they're getting out hustled by the Down the Pub podcast here, because I said I've done my research and it's all Jewish on the mask. So yeah.
Well, Ollie's been on the show a couple of times before, so he's a good friend and a loyal Tottenham fan. God bless him for his troubles. So congratulations to him and to Kate.
Tottenham.
So
I saw a picture of him at Wembley Stadium. He wouldn't have been there supporting Tottenham, would he?
anyhow, moving swiftly along, Mr. AFC Wimbledon. Yeah, lads, it's been kind of fun hanging out. We've kind of gone over a lot of topics. I think we talked about the actual game for about 5 minutes. Which is kind of nice. But yeah, it was great to have a light-hearted podcast for a change instead of Derek just being all moany and groany about this, that, and the other. It's great to see a smile, Derek.
Yeah, I had a couple of rants written down, but I'm not gonna
I
ruin the
know.
buzz here by, by
I,
getting into those.
okay, you're allowed one rant. Do it.
Well, and this is, I mean, it's not a super ranty rant either. I did raise this with you guys earlier. Can One Soccer just give us credit for a win for once? Like, I don't
No.
think we've ever won a game where they don't point to the refereeing as a factor. I don't think that's happened. And so we win 4-1 and and they're saying, well, maybe the penalty shouldn't have been a penalty. And then there was one of the goals where they were claiming, oh, there was a foul in the build-up about 30 seconds prior to the goal being scored. And the player was slow getting back up, but he was fine. So like, and I watched it again and I said, that's maybe a 50-50 call. So they really seem to find any excuse to try and rain on our parade anytime we win a game, and they'll harken back to Jordan Wilson will start talking about penalties again, and they'll say Thiago's scoring is going to score a lot of goals because he takes penalties for Wanderers. We haven't had that many
Yeah, we
penalties in the
have.
last 3 years. We haven't.
No, we
So
haven't.
I mean, two-part rant, I guess, is one is like give us some credit when we get a win, and the other is get over the fact that in the Stephen Hart era, we probably got more
Oh my
penalties than we
God.
deserve because the Stephen Hart era has been over for 3 years now, and that has not been the case at all the last 3 seasons. If anything, we get less penalties than we deserve now. So
So that's a question. I was actually just thinking about that when we were talking, Ron. Why do you think we got more penalties under Harty than what we are under Patrice? Like the rest of us feel bad for us. It's like these poor bastards have just spent like all this money to come here again, and it's like nil nil. I'll just give them a penalty just to let them go home happy. So there's not riots on the streets of Halifax. But
To me, I think it's like Hardy was strong defense speed. And so when you had those fast guys or Morelli in the box, like Morelli drew a lot of fouls, right? And same with like any of the fouls that you're actually being seen called right now is that it's coming off quick movement by us in the box, like quick 1-2s, going around the corner, like those kind of things. And we've only had three, right? And then like great movement by Thiago, pulled back to stop. Well, there's no way he was going to get that header on net from there, by the way. But anyway, pulled back and quite blatantly. And that's where I think this year we're going to get them. And I'm hoping over the next 2 weeks as we really dial in around the top of the 18, that'll be the thing. But he had those speed guys just running at defenders, Akeem, Bona, like guys like that. It's just like, just get in the box and get the ball in the mix, right?
even Karađorđević or Fumpa like didn't score many goals, but drew a lot of fouls with just quick play. Yeah. So
Yeah.
So I will say in one soccer's defense, that was a foul against Miles Morgan, just so you know. It was
look,
there was two fouls that weren't called against them, and I think in their defense, I think that was true, and I think you should take back part of that rant and apologize to Jordan Wilson.
but how often do we see a foul in the build up to a goal that like 30 seconds prior to and then One Soccer come back and say like if Forge had scored that goal, do you think they're going back 30 seconds and saying, well, someone was fouled in the build up? Absolutely not. And if Forge wins a game 4-1, we're going to hear about what a tactical genius Bobby is and what a dominant team Forge is and blah 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 blah. So I get a little tired of the patronizing treatment from them where they treat us like we're charity cases that only ever score on penalties and only ever win when the refing favors us. And they act like the refing always favors us at the Wanderers grounds as if the crowd getting on the refs
I,
actually works, which if anything, I've seen the opposite in a lot of cases where we get on the ref and the calls seem to go against us. So
I think that's just Scott Mitchell like standing behind the camera, like going, so, like when Forge are playing, because he's part of the the mafia group that was in the
all I'm
league.
saying is give us some credit when we get a win because
Yeah.
they've been few and far between at times. So
Well, we've had enough complaints about the refereeing in those 3 games prior with the Calgary handball and guys getting tackled in the box against Pacific. And like we've had plenty of complaints that would have led to more points, 100% for sure.
yep.
So that was another one of Derek's rants brought to you by Gaviscon. Uh, if we need a sponsor for that section, that's who we need. Lads, it's been great. I'm sorry I was a little bit off kilter. I'm still trying to recover from Oasis and my first time being in Toronto and trying to get back to work and being with dad again after having 3 days off. So yeah, thanks guys.
All right,
Yep.
cheers.
Take care.
Folks, please. Right foot, please. Time to drink up, folks. Get out. Out to fuck.